Check, check, check. Can you hear me now? 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 Test, test, test. You can hear me now. Can you hear me now? Test, test, test. And does it sound like it normally does? Give me a sentence. I need to know because I just changed a whole bunch of stuff. And I think I might have broken something. In attempts to make things better, I always tend to make things worse. So, yes, you can hear me. Rock on. Can you hear me now, Alfred, though? Where's Alfred? Okay, Fulton says, okay, good. Okay, good, good, good. Now, I hope the picture looks better because we were just gifted a awesome webcam by one of our amazing listeners of the show. It just showed up. And again, I shouldn't have done this. It showed up about 15 minutes ago. And so I have an interview. So I tried to get this done in 15 minutes, try to rush it. It's a new toy. So I wanted to hook it up. So I hope the picture looks better, right? It's a little bit wider and it's definitely more clear. And I even have a Yule log on the TV. How about that? I'll have the backdrop back up after Christmas though. But yeah, I hope it looks a little bit more clear. I hope the picture looks better. Good. Looks good. Okay, good. I mean, it's me. I mean, it can only look so good, but yes, I'm pumped about this. Yes, it's a Logitech. I know nothing about webcams. Let me see. Let me find the box. It's a Logitech Brio 4K Pro webcam. And so what this is going to force me to do is to get a new desktop computer eventually because I need a USB 3.0 port to go 4K. Oh my gosh, this does look better at this end. I was wondering how it looked better going out. Nice. Yes. Okay, Felicia's coming in. No worries. She's getting her laptop and we'll be set. You know what? And actually, you know what, Felicia? It was me, I think. I think I had the wrong setting set. Felicia couldn't hear me. So yeah, that was what the problem was. Yep. So we're going to talk here in just a second. This will be our last show we record before Christmas. Hope everybody's getting everything done. I know that I'm not allowed to go into Paige's room behind me, which is right behind the wall where the TV is, the Yule log, the fireplace that you see. So it has me very curious as to what's in that room. And it looks like, does the picture look like it's slanted though? I'm not real good at this. Let's see. I'm trying to get the Yule log in there though. But is it? Let's see. I'm trying to hide the mic boom and still get Mickey Mouse in the picture. Yes. So what's everybody doing for Christmas? Yeah, I got to check out the utility. I just literally plugged it in. It took me longer to get down under behind my computer where there's a million wires. I knocked down Buzz Lightyear. I knocked down Woody off this box that I have next to the studio. I have all kinds of junk that fell off my all kinds of stuff that just fell off my desk. I got to pick up. It's a wreck. But yeah, I got it plugged in. So I'm excited about that. Oh, okay, cool. Fulton. Okay, cool. We got to meet at the Indie Disney meet. This year, the Indie Disney meet was in Florida, kind of, on December 5th. Yeah, so Felicia, we're going to talk to her. She was just down 2 weeks ago, so we'll get some new information there. And yeah, the girls are all shopping right now, so I'm home alone with Riley. Riley is asleep right about there, right in front of the Pac-Man machine. She's our live studio audience tonight. Yeah, Buzz is actually laying face down. He looks like he partied too hard as I look over there. But yeah, apparently I have a present in Paige's room right here. And she said, do not open my door. And that makes me want to know what's in there, but I will not. I will not, because she was probably watching right now. Okay, it's fine. Whoever pops in, you will be on the show. That's what's going to happen because you have the link. The missing link. Yeah, I'm so excited for this. Oh my gosh, that's such a better picture. The camera that I did have was 6.5 years old. I know. Should we open the door? I know I can't. I won't. I mean, it's already the 23rd, right? It's only 2 days. But it's like, why would you tell me to not open the door, right? It's like, now I just definitely want to open the door. All right. I think we have Felicia coming in.
Okay, but where's the volume on this thing?
There's right low. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, sorry. My work computer that I was going to use doesn't support that, so I had to get my son's Chromebook.
Oh my gosh. You know what? Originally, it was my fault anyway. I didn't have the settings right. So it wasn't you, it was me.
Okay, well, no worries. I was like, and so he went and got his Chromebook, and he said the camera quality is low. So I'm sorry, you get what you get.
We're an audio podcast. I don't even, and the irony is because I'm so stupid because I just got this webcam sitting on my front porch like at 6 o'clock, and I told myself because it was a gift from one of our listeners, and I'm like, 15 minutes. I got an interview. Don't even try it. And I was like, no, I'm plugging it in. I can't stand it. I know better than to try to change stuff with 15 minutes to go, but I couldn't. Like I sat here. I'm just gonna read the box. Nope, tore it open. Exactly. And then it's like, oh, I get here. I'm like, oh, I knew that would happen. No, so we're good. It was totally me.
Okay, no worries. We're on, so that's good. Not too late either.
Chromebooks are amazing. They get the job done. I used to, because I ran my first, actually, this was years ago when the very first iPads came out. I had the first iPads in Missouri in my gifted class, and I was because I'm an Apple fan, but long term, Chromebooks are so much better than iPads. You can do so much more with them, and they're so much cheaper.
Yeah, well, we have many Apple products here, but the school had Chromebooks, and then we bought a Chromebook, so we have 2.
Yep, that's what.
But anyway, we have one that's working here. That's great.
Hey, we're here. We're going to talk Disney. That's good stuff. Okay, so let me get what show number this is going to be. We got everybody tuned in already, so we got a lot of folks here.
Yeah, sorry for the door.
Oh no worries. We're just hanging out tonight. Oh sure. The thing on my agenda is when the girls get home, we're going to watch Charlie Brown Christmas, and we're going to play darts. And
that'd be good.
In some board game that Paige brought home from Columbia called the Train Game, I think, or you got to connect these railroads across the country from city to city. I don't know.
That kind of sounds interesting. Something my son might enjoy.
Yeah, she was explaining it last night, but they didn't get home till like 10, and I go to bed at like 10:15. I'm like, I'm out. I'll play tomorrow night. I'm old. I can't stay up that late. Okay, hang on. Let's see here. So publish. All I want to know is what number show we're on. Okay, let's see. So that's 18, 23, 24, 25, 26, 18, 27. And this will be for the 20. What's the first? So let's see. Mallory's birthday is on the 2nd. That's a Saturday. So the 3rd is a Sunday. So this will be for January 4th. Holy smoly. That's only 2 weeks away. Can you believe that?
No, that's crazy, but
Oh my gosh. Oh, Kiara knows. It's called Ticket to Ride. That's what it's called. Yes. And it looked extremely confusing, and Paige cheats as it is. So I don't know if she's being legit. She won last night, of course. Because when she was younger, I taught her, it's a board game. I taught her if you're not cheating, you're not trying in soccer. So she still uses that, I think.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
I mean, in soccer, like if you're not hacking somebody in the shins, you're not really.
It's like my brother always told my son if he wasn't first, he was last. So.
Well, I kind of did that with her too. I was kind of hard on her. And so, yeah.
Brutal.
Well, we didn't get first. He's all screwed up just because of me. That's it. Oh, Rhonda Lee says she knows Ticket to Ride. Everybody knows Ticket to Ride. So I'll have to give it a shot.
We'll have to check it out. It's a little late for Christmas, but our Christmas tree is underneath is a bit sparse. We went to Disney World, so
hey, nothing wrong with that. I'd take it.
14-year-olds don't have, at least 14-year-old boys I found, versus girls it's different, but boys don't have a big list.
Oh my God. Mallory's going to be 13 on the 2nd, and She has plenty on her list.
I know, my best friend has 4 daughters, and hers, I get a list from them, but I can't get much out of mine. So
They have all these like Ulta boxes. I think it's like makeup or
oh yeah. Nah.
it's ridiculous.
We have some.
That's a good thing. Being like that, I have 2 daughters and a wife. Like I'm out on the presents. I just like just use my card and get what
Just
I
go.
don't know
It's a good time. There you go. Well, you're a smart man, Mike.
Yes, I try. Okay, Fulton, shoot me an email, Mike at BRGuestPodcast.com. I'll see what I can do. Yeah, Sunday maybe. I don't know what we're doing this weekend though, so just shoot me an email, Mike at BRGuestPodcast.com, and we will see it. Yes. Okay, so where are you from, by the way? I totally forgot.
Wisconsin.
That's where my daughter. They were up there cheering last week or 2 weekends ago.
Oh, really? Where?
The Dells.
Oh, that's very much a sought after vacation destination. Why sometimes the water parks, some places don't impress me as much as they ought to, because I live 2 hours from the Dells.
Nice. They were at Kalahari.
Yep.
They loved it. They said it was.
Yeah.
They wanted to go back.
That's a phenomenal resort. There's actually Kalaharis all over the nation.
Yeah.
So
That's it. I was talking to Scott, actually, Scott and Pam. We were recording Monday, and they're like, "Oh, there's one in Sandusky. We all need to meet there because it's closer to them."
Yeah.
So we're going to Kalahari, and so we're gonna all try to meet there and go.
Same with Great Wolf. There's a Great Wolf in Wisconsin Dells too, right near the Kalahari. Both of those, they're all over. So
yeah, I did Great Wolf out in Kansas one time with Mallory for a weekend. That was fun because we did it like in January, and it's super cold. It's crazy that you're at a water park. Like you're pale as a ghost. You're from St. Louis, January. We
generally try to go in the winter, and believe it or not, they're not cheap. We can almost go to Disney World room-wise, price-wise, cheaper. But when you have big families of friends and stuff, it's the flights and the tickets that get them. But the hotels are not cheaper in the Dells than they are at Disney World. So
I don't want to try because I've always I used to watch all those Travel Channel specials, like probably in I guess 10 years ago. They had Memorial Day weekend would be all Samantha Brown Travel Channel things. They always talked about the Dells and all the water slides and stuff. So
it's the water park capital of the world. So
but I told them when they went up there, like, we're going to the water park capital of the world in December during the pandemic.
In Wisconsin in December, and it has this year because of the pandemic, obviously a bit different, but normally there's lots and lots of people. So
yeah, they couldn't do much. Like they didn't go to the water because they were just there for the cheer competition. So honestly, what they told them, they really couldn't even stay together with their cheer squads because they're with other teams too. But they pretty much stayed in their room. And then when it was time for them to go to the warm-up room, they went to the warm-up room, did the routine. Only the parents from our team could be in the performance hall when they cheered. Like you couldn't watch the other teams. So it was just our parents cheering them on. Then they got out. Our parents left. Another team came in. It was. That's why I didn't go because I like going. Like there's a big one in Indianapolis in a couple of. I think it's like the middle of January. It's called Jam Fest. It's 15,000 cheerleaders. It's
my gosh!
Great. And they're still doing it, which I can't believe.
Well, if you ever get an opportunity to come to the Dells when it's normal times, please come.
Oh yes,
I mean, they have a lot of other things to do there too. There's a lot of, other than water parks, there's a lot of like geography type stuff. It's really interesting. The Dells are just a phenomenon themselves, just the way the glaciers came through, and there's boat tours and ducks, and I mean, it's very interesting.
I was trying to explain it to them, and they're out. They don't care about that stuff. They're like, we don't care. We just want to.
And you can't do that in the winter, so you have to come in the summer if you want to do those things.
I am in. Let me get this going again because it only goes 30 minutes.
I'm sorry, like I said, for the delay, but
no problem.
And now you know.
I would be upstairs eating cookies, so this is keeping me away from cookies. Bob, one of our listeners, sent me a ton of cookies. The girls made a ton of so many cookies. And I'm nonstop eating Christmas cookies right at this point. It's terrible. Okay, so you were there. Okay, so we'll get started here, but just real quick, you were there like 2 weeks ago?
The 8th to the 15th. So we came home a week ago yesterday.
Okay, cool. So this is going to come out in like a week and a half. So we'll say like 2 weeks-ish. Yeah. And then where'd you guys stay?
Well, we have DVC and we stayed at Copper Creek.
Nice. Okay, cool. All righty. Let me hit this and we'll get rocking and go for like 30 minutes or so.
Sure.
Pretend like, okay, here we go. 1827. Welcome to I'll try that again. I've only done this a bajillion times. Should know how to start a show. Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode 1827 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy 2021. Welcome to the first Monday of this new amazing year. Yes, we are going to be saying that all through January because if you say it enough, we're going to make it happen. We're going to manifest an amazing year. Maybe we didn't do that enough this time last year. I don't know what happened. It kind of fell apart after February. We're going to do everything we can to make 21 amazing. It's going to be the roaring 20s. We're kicking it off right here. And as we've done here for almost 13 years, we're going to have a trip report to start your week because maybe this is that first day back to work. You've been sitting on the couch playing with all your gadgets and gizmos you got from Christmas and New Year's and watching all the bowl games and, eating Christmas cookies that are getting kind of stale at this point, but you don't care. You're still eating them. But you know what? If you're heading back to work, we're going to go down to Disney to get you there and have some fun. So joining us today from up in Wisconsin, we have listener Felicia. Felicia, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Mike. It's kind of an honor to be the first show of 2021 as a frontline healthcare worker, especially.
Yes, and absolutely. Thank you to you and your colleagues for everything you've done to keep us safe. We really can't say enough about everybody that's out there on the front lines with all this going on. I know it had to be a heck of a year for you. So thanks again.
It definitely was. I have over 2 decades of healthcare under my belt, and this was definitely the most challenging year. So
can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. I know my wife, same. This is her 23rd year of teaching. Yep. And, obviously she's very safe. I mean, she's so safe that she's 15 feet from me all day teaching 4th grade, which is weird because we spent 9 years next door to each other in person. We taught 6th grade together next door to each other. And, everything comes around. So now I'm working from home. He's teaching from home and it's a nutty thing, but definitely I appreciate you guys being out there. But let's talk about your trip.
Sure.
And before we do that, because you were just there recently, so this is really going to help a lot of folks heading down this winter. But before we do that, give us some background. Why Disney? What got you into all your DVC? I mean, you're all in. So give us some backstory.
Well, it started way back when before I was born. My parents made a trip to Disney World shortly after it opened. So boo-hoo to there would have been 50 years here coming up. And we made a family trip when my son was 9. We waited a number of years. I can't believe I waited till he was 9, but I was in nursing school and just, I don't know, life happened. So his first trip was when he was 9 and he's 14 now. And he's, I don't know, been 7 times, I think, since then. And we went as a family with my dad, my parents and my brother. We've been to Alani, we've been to Disneyland. And then my dad unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. So we really like to go during the December time when we went because my parents' wedding anniversary is December 9th. And so they were married for 45 years. And so this year would have been 3 years, the 3rd year my mom was without him. So the first year we went to Disney and we've been every year since. So since he's passed.
Well, that's sweet. I mean, it's a way to kind of honor your father and also, I'm sure, make new memories, but also kind of relive all those things from the past.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Like halfway through the trip, I got this email in my Yahoo from Disney, which I get all the time. I'm sure like everybody, but this one was addressed to Alan, and that's my dad.
Oh, wow.
It was actually on their anniversary day, which was really bizarre. I'm like, I've never gotten an email addressed to him in my email, and it came to my dad that day. So I said to my mom, I'm like, wow, that was just kind of give you those kind of shivers a little bit. But
see, I don't question those things. They're strange and they're like at the weirdest times that something like that will drop in, unexpectedly. But I just look at it as like, it's a sign and I'm not going to question
That's exactly what I said. I'm like, this is a sign. And actually my brother and his family were going to join us, but with COVID, they didn't come. And actually, as crazy as this is, they ended up, we found out they had COVID while we were gone. Oh, so it's a good thing they didn't go because, so they're in the recovery now, or recovered now at this point, but they're, who knows? It was just a weird year.
Okay, so let's talk about this trip. So again, you're a frontline healthcare worker.
Yep.
You're going down in the beginning of December, and I'm sure, I mean, I gotta just guess because when I went down in August and I went again for the Give Kids the World thing the first week of December. And, of course, folks around me are like, I can't believe you're getting on an airplane. I can't believe you're going to Florida, and it's like, I work and travel and I got a lot of guests going down and I want to be able to experience what if I didn't feel safe, I would tell my guests, I don't want you to feel, you're not going to feel safe. I don't want to have you do this. But I did feel like doing all the research that I could that I was relatively safe. Was it the smartest thing ever in the world to do? Probably not, but I felt like I was okay. So give me your background because you're more of an expert than I.
So, so I'm a hospice nurse. That's what I do. So I kind of have a different perspective on life in a sense to begin with, I guess. Maybe I should say end of life. But we did a lot of research. Like you said, we had canceled 3 trips. 2 actually were canceled because Disney wasn't even open yet. We were supposed to go in March, and like literally days before was when they closed. And then we were going to go in May, and they still weren't open. Then we did have a November or September trip planned around my son's birthday, but we built a lake home this summer, and it actually got done that week. And it was really hot in September, and I knew the masks would just not be a thing. My son he's 14, but he hates being hot. So we didn't go on that one, but this December one was our first actual DVC trip. We purchased our DVC last December when we were there, and then we purchased our APs because if you own DVC, you get APs at the Florida, which was a steal. But we hadn't been able to use our APs since, and so when we booked this, we knew our APs were supposed to expire like the day we came home. But lucky us, Disney added days, so now we have till May 12th. Which is awesome because they didn't have to do that. But so we stayed at Copper Creek. We purposely bought at Copper Creek because we're cabin people, and we knew that was a small DVC resort. And if we ever wanted to stay there, at least in a studio over Christmas, we had to own that particular resort. So it was great. We loved it. We originally had a 1-bedroom booked because my brother was coming, but then we didn't need that much space and we didn't need the kitchen. So we switched to a studio, which saved us some points. And then we had just the studio the first half. And actually we were going to switch to Old Key West halfway through our trip, which I wasn't opposed to, but we bought specifically at that resort. So when we got there, I asked, was there any chance that they had a room? And they said yes. And actually, the second half of our trip, we got the alternative studio, which I don't know if you've ever heard of. I almost hate to leak into this little secret, but there's only like 5 or 6 of them in the whole resort, and they're corner rooms. Okay. They only charge you studio points, but it's like 2 separate rooms. So it's almost like a 1-bedroom, but without the full kitchen.
And I think that's a great secret because, we're always looking for, I know like on cruise line, people are always looking for like the hump, or something, there's always like, in the category, these 2 staterooms are on the hump, get these, you get, 3 extra square feet and people go nuts for that. I get it. I mean, I'm the same way.
There's much more than 3 extra square feet there. There's 2 balconies and it's like they're corner rooms that overlook the water, like the pool. So all I did was ask. I'm like, what can they say? No. So I asked, I'm like, we're going to move rooms, or we might have to move a room. Is there any chance there's a alternate floor plan? And he click. He's like, yeah, sure. I was like, score. So
I love that.
Yeah. That's so cool. I mean, it was nice. Thanks to Doug at the Copper Creek desk there, or I guess this Wilderness Lodge, for getting us that room. So yeah, we got checked in. We flew out really early. Our flights out of our little hometown airport, we always have to transfer in Chicago, but our flight from Eau Claire, where we live in Wisconsin, to Chicago had 8 people on it. And then we got to Chicago to Orlando. The flight was very full. I was very cognizant of that. Like you said, we talk about whether or not we go on these vacations or not. We wore N95 masks in the airport and on the airplane. That was something I said had to happen. Just because you're in closed environments in the airport's hard to decide. We do have TSA pre-check and global entry, so the lines weren't bad at all that way. And our little airport with the 8 people, well, that was no big deal either. But once we got to Disney, we wore the regular cloth mask. As for whether or not how I decided we were going to go, it honestly just came down to we'd canceled so many trips. The numbers in Wisconsin when we went were way high compared to Florida. I work for a pretty big healthcare system, and we have a healthcare we have a hospital in Florida, and they were the only ones in our whole enterprise that was in the green. The other ones were all in the red. So I was like, well, I think we're safer in Florida than we are in Wisconsin. And so we went, and honestly, I got no grief from my fellow healthcare people. Most of the grief came from my mother's friends, because my mom is 72 years old. So they were like, you're going to take your mom? And I was like, she's a firm believer in, I guess, not living in fear. Faith over fear was kind of her thought. And she always says God has a plan for her. And I mean, we were very, we did the safest we could. Lots of hand sanitizer. We social distance as much as we could, especially in the airport. Once you're at Disney, the social distancing, and we can get into that a little bit, wasn't even a thing. It was, you're outside a lot. So, but yeah, so that's why we decided we'd canceled all those trips. This was a special one because of my parents' anniversary, and we been there every year for Christmas, or at Christmas time, since my dad died, and we're just like, we're gonna go. So we went.
I mean, yeah, and everybody's got to do what they're comfortable with. I would never encourage anybody to go if they have any, second thoughts at all. Because you're not going to enjoy it. You're going to be worried, and if you go, I mean, more power to you too. Because and again, I did the same thing. I got N95 masks for Mallory and I wore them both when I went in December. I wore them again in the airplane, the airport. But I told myself I was going to wear it at Walt Disney World. But then you get there, and everybody's got on the fun masks. I had to buy.
You did. Well, we bought ahead, and but anyway, yeah, and a couple days was really hot, and I can't imagine the N95 in that heat.
We wore the cloth masks August 5th to the 9th, and it was smoking hot. So, and walking around Epcot, I mean, it wasn't super comfortable, but I mean, it was that or not go. And so I was like, you know what? It's not that bad. I want to be at Epcot.
Yeah, like you said, we all make choices. So I guess I can just continue on here a bit. So we landed in Orlando about 12:30. Magical Express, no people. I posted a picture on my Facebook. I'm like, there was like 5 people standing in line. I'm like, this is insane. I'm like, if this is how the trip's going to go, this is going to be amazing. So we get on the Magical Express bus. There was a few other people, but not many. They clearly did a good job of like how many, they keep head counts, and they can only put on like 24 people anyway, or whatever. But we didn't even remotely come close to that many. I guess we got settled in at the room was ready when we got there. So that was really nice. We went right to the room because we were probably there by 2:00, so you don't know if your room's going to be ready. But I think I got a message about 1:30 that the room was ready. And then we decided we were going to go to Epcot the first day. The whole park reservation thing and having to pick your parks ahead of time, that's a little bit obviously different for us. We have Park Hopper, part of your your AP. So that was really
I think it's super hard for people that go often. Like the people that have a history with going to Walt Disney World. I have a horrible time with making theme park reservations because I just go where the wind takes. I mean, I have a good idea when I go to fast passes, but I'm like, I've been there a billion times. If I go to Magic Kingdom, let's go to the studios. And it's like, you can't do that. Once you leave that park, you're done for the day. So I mean,
you can go back in, but only to that park. So I guess now since the podcast is coming out on the 4th, I believe they're going back to Park Hopper, this may be a little bit of
now.
a little bit old information at this point. But originally we had planned to do Magic Kingdom. That's kind of where we usually start, but I don't even remember the rationale. I think we switched some days up, and I'm like, well, we're going to Epcot. So we headed over to Epcot. We actually got on Soarin' right quick. The lines are very deceiving, and I can get into this a little bit more when we get into Magic Kingdom. It was very apparent. You look at them and you think, gosh, they're long, or the times, and you can't figure out why times are longer for some things than others. But my mom always rents a scooter, and so we pulled up to the line and we got in. I mean, we waited like for a little bit, but not long, maybe 15 minutes. So we got on Soarin', and then we headed over to World Showcase after that, and it's really interesting because all of a sudden there'd be like these random pop-up parades. And so we right away stumbled upon one of those, they're short, just a couple little vehicles or characters. So, people are kind of gathered for a few minutes, but I'd say 10, less than 15 minutes for sure. Everybody's all dispersed again. They're just standing along the edge of the sidewalks there. But yeah, so that was kind of kind of cool to see some of those. We grabbed, some yummy treats there in World Showcase. We rode on Frozen and the Three Caballeros, and that was kind of the rest of that day, just because we had just got there. And the other part of this that was kind of cool is the parks closed. I mean, not as late as we're used to, especially at Christmas, which was a bit of a relief, especially for my mom, because I usually make her go, and she's like, I just want to go to bed, like, no, we have another hour, So this was good for her, because I think the latest any of the parks were open was 10.
Yep.
Most 8 or 9 each night. So that was fun. We were back to the hotel and back in bed and rested up to go the next morning. We headed to Hollywood Studios, and right away we went on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Oh, talk about an awesome ride. They did a good job on that one. I thought anyway. And that was my parents' wedding anniversary that day. So I don't know why we picked that one. We love the Christmas decor at Hollywood Studios, that sort of retro.
Yes, it's perfect for me because I love that mid-century retro.
Yeah,
my grandma's kitchen. Grandma's.
That's what I was gonna say. We always celebrated Christmas Eve at my dad's mom's, my grandma's, and she had a lot of that kind of decor. Yep. So I think it's just like I don't know, all those little statues, like she had those in glass,
those little dogs. I was like, those dogs, that was on my great grandparents' kitchen. I mean, like the exact same ones. I was like, oh my gosh.
So I think that's, I don't know, because the first year my dad died, we spent part of that day for sure at Hollywood Studios, because Facebook memories are great because they pop up all the time and let you know. So we did that. Then we headed over to Toy Story. Slinky Dog is my absolute favorite ride at Disney. So, we did Toy Story Mania and this spinning saucer alien, and then we did do Slinky Dog. We had to wait a little bit, but honestly, the wait times, I mean, I would say the longest one, I saw somewhere it said 75 minutes, but we never waited 75 minutes for anything.
That's common. Yep.
So we did that, and then we went back to the hotel, because we usually try to do like sort of a midday break, and then we went back and we ate at Pizza Rizzo, which, believe it or not, we've never eaten at, which, I mean, my son loves pizza, so I guess it was it was good. There was
my buddy Scott loves Pizza Rizzo. He's always like, let's go to Pizza Rizzo. Let's go to Pizza. I'm like, can we go to Backlot? No, let's go to Pizza Rizzo. So there you go. You got another thing.
And we barely got there in time, because the restaurants closed a little early too. So you kind of had to plan. I found that the meal thing was a little bit tricky, because you had to make sure you got food before things were closing. But we got in and we ate that. We ate there, and then we went on Mickey's Runaway Railway again. We waited and decided we wanted to do that a second time. And then we just sat around and watched the Tower of Terror, that little show. Just got a drink and a snack and just watched it. Because we've been, many times, I guess, and we'll go many times again. We, find that we can sit around a little bit and just kind of kick back and enjoy those more simple things, I guess.
Well, too, in the studios at Christmas, you mentioned it, the decor is, especially like you said, once you get to the evening and it gets dark, for one thing, the studios is beautiful at dark any time of the year. In the middle of summer, with all the neon and Hollywood Boulevard sunset, I mean, it's just gorgeous at night anyhow. But when you have those projections on the Tower of Terror, because I got to see them for the first time right before I was there that weekend before you guys got there, and I was blown away by those. But then before we left, we just walked around Echo Lake and just took in all the, the Christmas tree, all the bulbs out in the lake, and all the decorations. And, I mean, it took a million pictures. If you're a photographer, I mean, it's a photographer's dream.
I definitely took, I'm like, why do I take so many pictures every time? But I do. And it's good to look back, and things are different. I have the iPhone 11 Pro Max, so the camera in that thing is like unbelievable. And I actually considered upgrading, but I'm like, well, we'll just go with this one for now. So then we headed back to the hotel, and my mom went to bed. My son and I ran down to Roaring Forks and grabbed one of those. They have like these like campfire cupcakes, and just
I've had those. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. You have to mobile order almost everything. So but you go in quick and get what you need and get out. So then we went the next morning, Magic Kingdom. That was our first time to Magic Kingdom for this trip. this was what I found really, really cool. And I saw a lot of it at Magic Kingdom, and we did see some of it kind of at Animal Kingdom too. But the character interactions are obviously different, and you can't meet and greet. But I saw more characters this trip than I've seen probably ever.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
just up on like balconies.
the
and
balcony when you come into Magic Kingdom, all the princesses. I have never seen all of the princesses. I've never, in all of my years of going to Disney World, seen Cinderella.
Nice.
But I saw Cinderella.
Yeah,
So
I've seen Cinderella many, many times.
well, I have a son, and I mean, I'm not going to stand in line. And so anyway, I was like, oh my gosh, that was really cool. I thought, and they're waving at people, and they're up there for quite a while, enough to, and I felt like they tried to engage. If they saw you were taking a picture, they kind of looked at you, and I don't know, maybe it was just me thinking that, but
I think they really make an effort to make it personal, even if it's just a wave, because they know you're trying to take a lot of people are taking selfies with them in the background, and they'll focus so that you get a picture with them. They're doing a really good job at that, because it can't be easy. I mean, there's so many people.
No, and there's a lot of people, but still everybody's again spaced out well. I thought that way wise, like the social distancing for them, I'd say 90 to 95% of the time was spot on. Anyway, so that was and then we got our first look at the castle with the new paint job or whatever you want to call it. And I thought it looked really great. I think it looks way better in person than what I saw initially in the pictures. My son is kind of torn about the gray. He doesn't know. He thinks it's kind of an odd contrast, but he's like, I get what they're trying to do. But he's 14 though, so he maybe overanalyzing. So I thought it looked great. We got some really awesome pictures. They did. Again, we go to Disney a lot, but we've never had one of those pictures where, like, with the back of you looking at the castle, like with your arms around each other. I've never had anybody ask us to do that. Maybe it's the mask, so they're trying to add a different element. And so we got a couple of those kind of photos that we've never had before. So I thought,
hang on, breaking news. You got a 14-year-old boy to do that kind of a picture with you? I mean, you should get some kind of an award. That's pretty good.
Well, he's a pretty good kid, but I
was a 14-year-old kid. I mean, I know how it is. I get it.
Yeah, the guy or the photo pass person will be like, okay, you stand in the middle, put your arms around the gals, and he just did what he was told. I think he's used to it. So yeah, then this is where we kind of ran into this whole odd line ride time weird thing. My mom loves Small World, and across from Small World is Peter Pan, right? They're right close to each other. The wait time for Small World was longer than Peter Pan.
Whoa.
But here's why. They can only put people in the front and back row on Small World. Okay. But on Peter Pan, each individual car is still available. So the line may look longer, but the wait time was actually, sometimes they were about equal, but I was like, what has happened? But it literally, they could only put like a few people on Small World boats because they use the front and the back row is all. But Peter Pan could run just like it always did.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. It's a socially distant ride.
Right. We found that then with a lot of rides that they did that. And in the ones where they did use all the rows of the boats, I'm trying to recall, and I might be wrong, and maybe Mike, did on Frozen, I believe they used all the rows, but they built plexiglass walls. I
didn't go on Frozen
either. Well, I'm pretty sure it was Frozen where all those boat rows, they used them, and on Jungle or the Safari too. They used all the rows, but they built the plastic.
Right.
Yeah, and then they had all those plexiglass in the queues too. So they definitely put some effort into this, and I think they expect some long-term use of it.
Well, let's hope it's that too. No, I think it's right, because people don't want long wait times, and that is a way to make the rides more efficient. Now, it does cut down on the quality of the experience, but it's kind of, it's just one of those, you got to do something, right? You got to balance it out. Do you want to wait 7 hours to ride it, or you want to look through a piece of plexiglass? And
I guess, a little bit maybe because we knew the difference, but honestly, there was a couple with a daughter. She was probably like 8. They sat on the bus across from us a couple of times on our way back to the resort. They stayed at Copper Creek as well, and they came from Ohio, and that was their first trip. And I was like, whoa, I didn't think I'd ever send somebody down here right now on their first trip, and they thought it was great. They don't know what they're missing. The wait times are good. The character interactions are probably, they're seeing things they wouldn't see. They said they thought it was a great time to go. So
that's good feedback, because I've always wondered, especially if it was your first time, because you don't know what you don't know. I guess it's
Right.
kind of the thing. It's like, well, that's how you meet the characters. You take a selfie with them up on the balcony. No, that isn't really how it works. But I mean, that's how it works for for 2020.
And I think they
good
said they were having a great time. Like I said, we rode the bus with them a couple times just by chance. Honestly, the buses from the parks to the resorts, most of the time, over 75% of the time, we were the only people on it. So small low crowds. So I know we're probably going to run out of time here, so I'll kind of start stepping it up a bit here. But so then the next day we went to Animal Kingdom. We didn't even get there at park open, but we jumped on. We took some pictures even before we even went, and my son and I both rode Mount Everest 2 times in a row in like 10 minutes. The wait time was 5 minutes. It took longer to go through the queue.
Yes, that is a long one.
And honestly, we hadn't seen that queue in a long time, the whole thing, because normally we get a fast pass. And that's another thing we found with this trip. We usually have fast passes for things. So we missed queues and we saw queues this time that we hadn't seen in a long time, or maybe had never seen.
Right. Peter Pan's a great example of that.
That was
the fast pass, and that queue is awesome. But I mean, I'm never going to wait in it because it's always long.
Right. So that's why I was like, well, this is kind of cool. So I guess those kind of experiences, especially people that aren't first timers, that's really a fun time. So we went on the Everest 2 times in a row. Then we jumped on the Safari Quake. We did a little bit of that gorilla walk. We saw Pocahontas from the bridge that went over to Dinosaur. She came on a pontoon with that. I don't know where a raccoon's name is. Forgive me, but I've never seen Pocahontas either. So that was kind of cool. We rode the dinosaur ride, which my son says he doesn't even think he ever rode, but I know he rode it his first trip, and he was like, "Ooh, that was plenty loud." So
right, I know some people hate that ride, but I love that ride.
The picture,
sometimes, but once it's awesome. I do like it.
The picture is great because he's got his ears plugged and he's like got this a scared look at my mom and I are just like whatever. So it's like if I was gonna do a Christmas card, I maybe would have picked that one. So then we headed, we did that. We went back to the hotel kind of a little bit earlier that night. We ate, we had dinner at Whispering Canyon, which the park or the dining reservations too are kind of weird. And it's kind of like normal though, but you can cancel by midnight and then still not get charged. So I found Whispering Canyon was always booked up, but we found some reservations. We did a breakfast and a supper that we found kind of last minute. So that was good. Yeah, we had a good time. We ate, Mom and I had the skillet and my son just had the regular steak. 5th day back to Magic Kingdom. We used the boat to go to Magic Kingdom from Wilderness Lodge always. So, again, more characters up there in the morning. Eeyore, Piglet, Rabbit. I've never seen them. Saw a parade again. I had one of those little Yule logs at Pinocchio Village.
I didn't get one of those. I wanted to, and I was too full. You'll have one stomach. You can't only eat snacks.
Well, one of my friends had texted me and said, "You better get one of those." So we jumped on the Little Mermaid then, parade. We rode Splash Mountain. My son hates that ride. But I told him, but I told him he had to ride it because I was like, they're going to change it. And then I did ask a cast member, and they said it's probably going to be a while, like a couple years before they do it. I didn't know at the time. I convinced him that we needed to go. It might be the last time we saw it.
With our kids, it can be a little white lie. I mean, that's just part of parenting. It's in the book.
Yeah. So he actually, for the first time ever, this is nuts, but he remembered to bring his GoPro. So he has a lot of videos of the rides this time, which he's had that for a couple of years, but he never remembers to bring it to Disney World. So we did a video of Splash Mountain. Back to the hotel for a break, like always. Then again, when we came back that night, Mickey and Pluto and Tigger were up in the and Peter Pan and Wendy. I've half those. Like again, I've seen Mickey Mouse, but I don't think I've ever seen those other characters other than if I'm in like a character dining or something. So we did the Jungle Cruise that night, and then so that was it's always fun to do do Jungle Cruise, I think, at night, and then we stuck around and watched the castle do the multiple changes. I think the gentleman that was one of those, keep your mask on while you're taking a picture, guys, or whatever. He said there was 5 different changes. One was relatively short. The next morning we slept in a bit. Then we had the breakfast that morning at Whispering Canyon. We got the skillets, so those are good. Whispering Canyon's a little bit tamed down too. I think they tamed it down a bit before COVID, but now they don't want people yelling and shouting and But
no catch up deal.
right, yeah. Well, you heard some of it. I mean, like they'd throw the straws at you, and I mean, there was still you got a little bit of it, but
yeah, it's 2020, right? We can't have
right.
anything full blast.
Although my son said that Whispering Canyon has the absolute best Mickey waffles on property. We've had Mickey waffles at many restaurants. We had Mickey waffles at Alani. He's like, "What did you do to the Mickey waffles?" So I don't know.
That's good. I mean, I've never really compared Mickey waffles. I like them at Pop Century at the food court, but I'll take his word. I'll go with it.
Yeah. So anyway, we've had them at Pop Century as well. So, but he said they were yummy and good there, and then when we came out of the restaurant, they had actually Pluto and Goofy in the hotel up on the balcony, looking down into the lodge there, waving at people. So that was fun. We jumped on the monorail. That was the first time we rode the monorail. That's kind of a little bit off too. I thought we could get where I wanted on the monorail, but we couldn't. So we jumped on and then got off at Contemporary. Got a big one of those giant cookies with a Christmas theme or whatever, and then we just kind of wanted to ride around on it, and then we took the bus back. Let's see, where did we go after that? Sorry, I made a couple little notes here. Oh, so then we went. You can't get up to Epcot on the monorail, so from Contemporary we got on the bus and then got to Epcot. We went to the DVC lounge, which is the first time we ever were there. They've always been closed. So that was, it's if you don't have DVC, it's okay. You're not missing a ton. I mean, it's neat and nice.
I like it a lot. I'm not even DVC, but I have friends who are DVC. It's what's being DVC is awesome, but what's even better, being friends with DVC people. Now, I've gone with friends up to the DVC lounge at Epcot. I just like being up that top floor of the Imagination Pavilion. It's just so, it's like his history up there. It's so cool.
It's very neat, but I don't want people to feel like And I don't know, maybe we had a weird experience because again, COVID. Like it looked like they had stuff blocked off where you couldn't go, and I don't know. So they gave us a pop and some Cheez-Its or something, and I mean it's a night. I can see absolutely where it's a great place to sit back and relax, and if you need some air conditioning and some downtime.
Yeah, that was it. When we were there, it was like in July. It was beautiful because we had air conditioning, we could recharge our phones. They gave us soda, snacks, and it was cool. I mean, I was like, this is heaven. I was like,
I think it's an awesome bonus to it, but
yeah.
So yeah, we enjoyed that for a little bit. I cannot believe this. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Oh, she's gone. Oh, she's gone. We'll get her back. We're almost there. She will come back, I'm sure, and we will wrap the show. We'll finish out her trip, and then let me do this while we're thinking. Hope everybody's having a good evening. We'll finish this one up here. Maybe we'll finish this one up. Let's see. Yeah, Frozen 3. That's exactly right. Somebody at her house got on the internet. Probably her 14-year-old son started playing a video game. I would guess. Da, 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 da. Can you feel the heat from the Yule log behind me? Yes, and it was Miko. You're right, Alfred. I should have remembered that. I knew that from playing Disney trivia, even though I've never seen Pocahontas. Ooh, it might be the weather. Oh, that is Felicia there. Sorry. So, did you lose your internet? That was our guess right there. See if you can come back in. If not, I will just we'll do something with this interview. I'll figure out a way to edit in the rest. A closing. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Okay, cool. So yeah, so we can just pick it up and I'll just chop that all out.
I'm sorry, I had to move in the house here. It's snowing. It's like we're in a blizzard.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was
so I think
65
it
here.
might be the internet that just started to go off. So I can kind of wrap up here or go.
Yeah, we got about 10 minutes to go. Okay. So yeah, if you could we'll just pick up from like after you guys went to the DVC lounge.
Okay. So then that was the when we went to the World Showcase, the pavilion, the event pavilion. I've never been in that thing. I don't know how I missed it, but we found it and spent a little time in there that evening. They had the gingerbread White House and a few other kind of neat things there. And then just spent the evening walking around World Showcase. The next morning we slept in again. We went to Disney Springs. And then we went over to Magic Kingdom again. Kind of hit a couple of the sort of old school. We went to Tiki Room. This was kind of interesting. On one of the trips back, the bus took us. They picked us up at Wilderness Lodge and had to take us over by the Fort Wilderness. Mm-hmm. And we got to see the resort that never happened. The DVC resort. Yeah. Yes. What was it called again?
Reflections.
That's so like it's there, but it's not. It's like weird. That was kind of interesting. So I was like, oh wow, that's cool. So I snapped a couple of pictures just because. The other thing we noticed at Magic Kingdom was the what's the island? Tom Sawyer Island. Like that's all. There's no water.
Right, I know that because I was down there. Same thing. It's so weird looking because we were standing in line to get on the Haunted Mansion, and all you see is just an empty, canal and then it's like, oh yeah, that boat's on a track.
Yeah. So that was just a weird thing. My son took a few pictures. He took some pictures of the Tron, being built and things like that because he's like, oh, these are things you're probably never gonna, just not see. So I think that was. Yeah, that was our last day at Magic Kingdom. We did eat at Skipper Canteen. We've never eaten there before, so that was fun. We actually snatched up a reservation there too. Mom and I had the It Tastes Like Chicken 'Cause It Is, which was delicious, and my son had a steak. Then we just went back to the resort, and we didn't have to rush to pack up because we actually didn't have a super early flight the next morning. I think we had a 2:30 or something, so that was good. We were the only people on the Magical Express or the Tragical, so yeah, it was actually a great trip. Like I said, we saw some really cool things that we would have never seen. The characters, the lines were good. The social distancing, I think Disney did an amazing job. I had a lot of friends that were sort of banking on me or making sure that I got back to them to how it was going. They want to go. They're like, we are looking maybe to early spring or spring break time. They sort of rely. I have no idea what the crowds will be like then because I don't know. They were at 35% capacity when we were there, but we could have got a park reservation at any of the parks any of those days. There wasn't any. We switched some days. We did book another trip for St. Patrick's Day time, and then one the end of April into the beginning of May. Because like I said, our annual passes are good till May 12th. And then I booked, and those are not at our DVC. One of them was at Coronado. Because honestly, we could get a room at Coronado Springs for $2 more a night than we could at Art of Animation. So we've stayed there before, but we've stayed at both. And then the April-May trip I booked at Pop Century. And then we booked a trip for the 50th. So the end of September and then into the first part of October. And I think I booked that one for Pop as well.
That's where I'll be. So I'll be down there for the 50th too. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. My mom's like, it's gonna be crazy. I'm like, yeah,
It'll
it
be
probably
crazy.
is,
It'll
but
be nuts, but it'll be awesome. I was there for the 40th and it was crazy. It was madness, but it was, I don't regret a single minute. So
yeah,
it'll
I
be
was
fun.
like, even if
2021 will be a great year for you. Definitely.
yeah, and even if we don't spend a lot of time in the parks or whatever, I'm like, we just have to be there.
I agree. I just have to be there. All right. So we are a little bit long, but I just want one last question. So any advice for folks heading down here at the beginning of 2021, that haven't been back since the parks reopened last summer? Like, was there something that surprised you, something you learned, something you want to pass along to our audience to help them have a better trip here in 2021?
I mean, I felt safe. I felt way safer there than I feel at Target or maybe some other places. I think Disney does a great job. There's lots of hand sanitizer, lots of social distancing. The masks are a bit of an inconvenience, but for me, worth it. I told people they should go. I even after I met that couple on the bus with their daughter, I think I would even tell someone who's first time that they should go. But again, it's a comfort level thing. The vaccines are rolling out now here where we are, at least to healthcare workers and to in nursing home residents. And I think it's not going to be long and they're going to be available to many other people. And whether you believe in vaccines or not, I don't care. But I think that'll just bring a comfort level for everybody.
I totally agree. And we're moving in the right direction and things, we kept saying, we're one day closer to getting back to normal. And I truly, especially now that we flipped the calendar to 2021 now, hey, it's going to be a great year. And even if we have to wait to the summer, we've waited this long. It's not going to be that long. We're going to get
no,
there.
really. I think, yeah, I think there's some light.
I agree. It's getting a little bigger every week. We're gonna see that light. So hey, Felicia, thanks for taking the time. I know it's a busy time of the year. Happy New Year to you and the family. And I'll have to talk as we go through 2021 about another trip.
Certainly. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Don't forget today's show, as always, brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Check them out today over at themagicforless.com. They'd love to help you out with your 2021 vacation, whether it's early 2021. There's a great discount out for that. And of course, there's that new discount that comes out on January 5th with some free tickets for qualifying packages. Just drop by themagicforless.com, fill out that quote form. We'll get you in the best possible situation, let you know what's available and what it costs. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. It's a free way to support the show. And again, a huge shout out to our patrons. You guys are making this show possible. I appreciate it so very much. If you'd like some extra content in your week, just visit patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give us a follow on the social media, Instagram and Twitter at beourguestmike and at beourguestpod. And of course, subscribe to the show over on Facebook and YouTube. All right, we're going to get out of here and we'll be back again on Wednesday with more of your listener questions. So for Felicia, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Monday. Time to get back to work and Happy New Year. Boom. Good. That was a good one. A lot of good information in there.
I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. I was like, and it literally, we're in the blizzard.
No, I get it. I totally understand. And it's easy to edit. So you won't even know when I get it done.
Okay, good. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, to my child, I'm like, what are you doing? It wasn't him on the internet.
No, that was usually what it was with my kids. So I was just,
I actually thought that was it because I told him, don't get on. He's usually pretty good, but I'm like, he probably thinks it's over.
At our old house, that always happened to me. I'm like, oh, it's podcast night. It's Monday night. Knock it off. I do it at 5.
And then we have like wind and rain and snow and well, hopefully tomorrow morning I'll wake up and there'll be some snow because we didn't have any.
Well, we're not having a white Christmas. It was 65 here today, but tomorrow morning when I run, the wind chill is going to be 14. So.
That's funny because when we were at Disney, there were days, it was 52 degrees in Wisconsin and we were down there and some nights got down to 40. I was looking at my friends' kids walking their dog in shorts and, we're like ready to bundle up in Florida. It was so fun.
Cool. You want to go down there and brag back home that you're in shorts.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, I'm here and you guys are, but it's still so humid in Florida. When it's cold, it's cold.
There's something to Florida cold. I'm not kidding. You're exactly right. People are like, oh, whatever.
People are like, you're from Wisconsin.
Yeah,
we're all bundled up, but I'm like, it is so dry in Wisconsin in the summer it's humid. In the winter, it is so dry.
Like totally 40 is not bad here. 40 in like the Magic Kingdom. I am like, I'm going to die of hypothermia. It's like,
yes. That is real.
It is. All right. Well, hey, Merry Christmas. You guys have a good one. And if you have anything, just give me a yell.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
You take care. Okay. Bye-bye. All right, everybody, have a Merry Christmas. I'm going to edit this one and get it up. And we have shows coming out. We have the Holiday Tradition show coming out for tomorrow, Christmas Eve. And then Friday, Be Our Guest podcast, or Christmas morning in the Be Our Guest podcast studios. Pam, Ricky, and I were exchanging gifts on Friday. Yay. See you guys later. Thanks for the feedback on the camera. Hope it looks good and hope it sounded okay.